Hello, guys. You guys are now tuning in to Conscious Gems, and today we'll be talking about relationships, intimate relationships, communication, reciprocal self-disclosure of energy, reciprocating the same type of energy, educating people on what intimacy is, and um, and I'll be accompanied by Courtney, who will give me a female's perspective on relationships and different things of this matter. So, I guess we could just get right into it. So Courtney, like, how do you feel about like law of attraction? Like, what do you think like attracts somebody to somebody? Like, what do you think it is?
Well, the way I understand law of attraction is basically like the belief of your positive or negative thoughts and how that relates to your experience and like other people in your life. And so I guess a good way to look at it at first without like thinking about a relationship would be like if you look at a college student, for example, and if they only focus on the negative aspects of college, then they're not going to enjoy their experience. But if they get more involved and they hang out with other people, then they're going to enjoy college a lot more. And so thinking about that as a relationship, you don't necessarily want to focus on the way that they like chew with their mouth open or little things like that that annoy you,
Mm-hmm.
because then you're only going to focus on the negative aspects of them instead of thinking about like how you really enjoy that they hold your hand in public
Right.
or that they tell you to drive safe when you get ready to leave. And so if you focus more on those things, you're going to be in a lot happier of a relationship and feel a lot closer.
Well, how do you feel about law of attraction before all of those things take place? As far as like, say, if we were talking about, as far as like what I would be attracted to a female and what you would be attracted to a male before you ever even engage into like the next step of knowing who they are and things like that, like from the physical or to after you get past the physical part until me talking to somebody, I'm like, okay, I know that. Oh, I like the way that this person talks, or I like the way what I'm saying. This
Mm-hmm.
sense of humor, stuff like that. Like just understanding like that part of what goes on, because I feel like with I'll say the law of attraction, I feel like it's basically things that you find in someone else that attracts you to them, that in a unique way, or it don't have to even be a unique way. So I was like, that's what I kind of thinking on the basis of is the process before you would get to figuring out how you be attracted to that person. So in my mind, I feel like the law of attraction is basically how you would feel towards somebody, and whether it be good or bad, is just basically being something that you feel as though you should. I guess just feel attracted to. I feel a law of attraction could just be anything. And then I'm getting on. I feel like what I want to move on to, something I actually really want to talk about, was reciprocal of self disclosure, and actually energy. Now, I always felt like with different like aspects of what's going on, I always feel like we're always in a space where we feel like I feel like we're always in a space where energy is always something that's going to be there. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's good or bad. And what I always wanted to mention was that I always feel like I was moving or being around people that you feel like I should share the same energy as you. You ever feel like you're talking to somebody or something like that, you're doing too much for them or something like that, and feel like y'all don't share the same energy? And especially when you're dealing with somebody on a certain basis or a certain level, it's always seemed that you have to reciprocate the same energy so you don't feel as though you're forcing yourself or forcing something upon someone else, so you put them in an uncomfortable situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a lot of things, for things to work in order for a relationship, I feel like it should always be an equal distribution of energy. You feel what I'm saying? So like, just a case like, let for instance, if if I'm fucking with you and you fucking with me, and you're looking for a relationship and I'm looking for sex, I feel like my energy and your energy is going to be different. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna try to match your energy, but it's gonna be fabricated. You feel what I'm saying? So if I'm trying to match your energy because I'm trying to get to where I'm going. You know what I'm saying, like that. So I feel like I'm working towards to get towards sex, but you're working towards a long term goal. So at the end of the day, at the time, the energy wouldn't be the same. Especially after I get my goal, then what's next? You feel what I'm saying? So I feel like I have to be on the same type of level as you, same type of energy, and I gotta create the same type of space for you. So then, if I put it out in the open that, okay, if I constantly want this and I want that with the common goal that I'm trying to get, which is sex, I'm creating a space to where I only want this, And so when you see that energy, you peep that, it's like, oh wow, this is all that he wants. Or then now now it's making the spaces like, well, I don't feel like I'm welcome in that, if that makes sense. So I feel like a lot of people don't share the same energy, and that's why they feel like they're not getting to the same common place, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how I feel about it. And I feel like that's why when you can reciprocate that, it's like, okay, if both parties are looking for just sex, then that may be good for them, because maybe that's what they all can. That may be all the capacity they have to hold. If that makes sense. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say with that, it's just a lot of communication and like honesty from the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
And so, if you do find someone attractive and you start talking to them, I think one of the very first things that should be established is, what are you looking for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't think that that's anything that you should draw anyone out and like string them along just to reach a specific goal that you have for them that they don't match. Or if they want more, there's no point in you dragging them along thinking that's what they're getting just for you
Yeah.
to get your goal. And so being honest with that from the beginning and stating exactly what you're looking for is going to limit the amount of wasted energy.
Right, but then we're living in a day and age where a lot of people aren't going to do that, because they feel like if I be straight up with somebody can't take the honesty of me being straight up. Like, for instance, like, I mean, if we're being completely honest, everybody is going to be sexually attracted to someone else, especially in the day and age right now. So like, say if I'm talking to a female right now, and oh, I can see myself being with her on this now on in a relationship with her, but in my immediate mind, I can see myself fucking her as well. So with me thinking that, I can't just tell her that off the rip. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of people may feel like, oh, I can't just tell her off the rip, because if I do, I'm gonna fuck. I can fuck up whatever I can get myself into, or or I can fuck up whatever I can get out of her. So a lot of people are thinking about. I feel like with the energy thing, a lot of people are thinking about benefits that they can get from that person, but sometimes they're not thinking about other things that they can build with that person. Because a lot of people don't just think about, oh, well, when I see her, damn, she's beautiful. Fuck it, I want to build everything with her. A lot of people not moving with that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was talking about energy, because that's that energy not reciprocated. Because, like, for instance, I can see this girl, think she's attractive, but she may not be moving in the same energy as me, thinking that, okay, I want to be with her, I want to talk to her because she's beautiful, and I see that she carries herself in this manner. So my energy may be, fuck it, I want to just have sex with her and keep her around, not knowing that she probably had been broken and dead, and XYZ made it happen to her. So it's her background. She may feel different about talking to dudes or different thing like that. So her energy is different. So that's why I was feeling like, telling somebody straight up from the beginning is kind of contradictory, because a lot of people don't move like that. So that's why a lot of us find ourselves in these different situations. It's like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna just talk to them and see where it goes. And now we find ourselves in these situations where you got one party moving towards, fuck it, I'm finna try to be with you or see where this goes. And you got some people saying, like, moving in energy where it's like, fuck it, I'm finna just try to, you know what I'm saying, have sex with them or just see how it goes day by day, but then string them along and then see how it can go, and then not be prepared for what happens when it gets that serious. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know how deep it can get. You're just going day by day. So that's why I feel like being straight up with them in the beginning is how it should be, but that's not how it goes. A lot of people don't move like that. But I think that should be like that. And then on top of that, I think a lot of people like the suspense of like not saying things straight out in the open. Like, how weird would you feel if you was fucking with somebody to be like, I like you, be my girlfriend?
I think from that standpoint, it doesn't necessarily, like, when you meet someone, I feel like in a sense you don't necessarily know if you're gonna spend all of your time with them, right? Or the rest of your life. That's not something that you can see right away.
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, you don't immediately have to go right into a relationship. But I feel like when people, are walking on the street or, hanging out by themselves or whatever they're doing, like, they know whether they want to be in a relationship or they want something else. Like, that inside yourself. And so when you meet somebody and you guys are talking, you don't necessarily need to say, oh, I see myself in a relationship with this person. But if they say, what are you looking for? You know what you want.
But what if you're one of those people that don't know what you want, or you're the person that's in the middle, that's like, I feel like I'm the person that's looking for love, because, like, say for instance, you're the hopeless romantic. I said I want somebody to be there for me, but there's nobody out there that's making the cut. So then you got people that's not making the cut, but then it's like, damn, should I lower my standards to let some of the lower standard people in? But then that's how you get damaged. So now it's on those lines of like, damn, what should I really do so I can save myself, or or should I still keep my standards high so that I do, when I do get to the point where I do have somebody, now I can then keep it to the point where it's like, okay, now they met my standards, now I can then move along with how I plan to have my relationship go, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I feel like it's just a lot of things back to the energy thing, and back to what I was saying as far as that is like, I don't know. I think what you said as far as like people thinking that they know what they're looking for, and then I think there's a lot of people that don't know what they're looking for. But then I think sometimes you have people that come by in your life and they surprise you, they throw you for a loop, and it's like sometimes it's like, damn, I'm not even ready for a relationship. Like that's the thing I was trying to say earlier was like, you may run into somebody, the right person, wrong time, right? But you have to run into somebody who is prepared to have the same capacity as you. You feel what I'm saying? Like say for instance, like I like you, you like me, but I don't have the capacity to juggle what I'm going through and deal with with your basic needs for a relationship, or with your needs as a person. You feel what I'm saying? So if I'm already broken and I'm already going through what I got going on, maybe I can't juggle what I got going on, what I'm going through. That ties into, you know what I'm saying, my personal life, school, football, and all those different things like that. So I may not have the capacity to juggle all that. But then let's just say you run into somebody who does have the capacity. You know what? I went through enough and I'm broken enough to know what you're going through, to relate to that enough to know, you know what? Fuck it, I'll pick up the slack even if it's that much. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why you got to know who you're dealing with. And also you got to be like mindful to know that it's dangerous to deal with some people because they can take that vulnerability and use it against you. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of people are not cool with opening up to certain people, because they feel like if I open up to you, I know that you can use these vulnerable parts against me. Then on top of that, it's like when I open up to you, I use more. You have more of me. You have more pieces of me, because it's not. I don't tell this certain things to other people. So that's why, in a sense, I feel like a lot of people don't want to do that. And then now, when you open up to people in a certain sense, you find a certain shelter in them. And that's why I feel like when people break up or they don't, they're not with that person again. It's like because you had a certain dependence or a certain support with that person. So now when they're going, it's like, damn, now I got to deal with these different problems by myself because I don't have that support from that person. I don't have that closure, that stuff from that person anymore, because I opened up to them with X, Y, and Z about what I went through, how I was broken, how this went and that, and why everybody think I'm quote unquote crazy, like things like that. You know, everybody thinks they're crazy in a sense, but so with that being said, is like I think that's what breaks people to the point where it's like they have that learning curve to feel like they can open up piece by piece or step by step because of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think opening up to people just takes a lot of time. Like you said, like vulnerability, like being vulnerable
In
to
general.
someone is just like it's. I feel like that's just a natural like kind of scared feeling and kind of anxiety inducing.
Because it's control.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like I think we're all just afraid of being judged. Really. And so if you are attracted to this person, you don't want them judging you because of things that have previously happened to you. You want them to know who you are now.
Or
and you don't
hurting
want
you in, or hurting you in.
right.
Yeah.
And you don't want them to really know all the negative things, right? Because we kind of tend to shy away from the negatives and kind of like make ourselves sound better with all the positive things. And so I feel like people are reserved to open up about the more negative parts of their past, like you said, for the vulnerability, but
Mm-hmm.
also because they don't want to be seen as a negative person.
Yeah, I can understand that. Do you ever have you ever like dealt with somebody who was like so open about how they've been broken and so open about what they've been through? Like in a sense, it's like you're talking to someone and it's like, yeah, my so and so died, or when I was growing up, I used to get beaten, or with my boyfriend, he was abusive and stuff like that. And it's like certain things you feel like you wouldn't share normally, but it's like they just come out and openly tell them, which is okay because that's normal. Like those are things that people go through on the normal. So you know, like I've came across people like that, like me. Like I sometimes I openly share certain things because I feel like some things that I want to share is relatable to certain people that they feel like, you know what, damn, I never really knew that he went through things like that. So I know that I can like at least confide in him to understand. He knows where I'm coming from. You feel what I'm saying? So I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people do want to shy away from some of their biggest flaws, like the biggest secrets. But then you have some of those light flaws, like I don't like the way my stomach is, or I don't like the way, you know, I overanalyze certain things or something like that. Like those are light flaws. Those are things that you feel like you can share with your partner early on, and then like, okay, now I know how to look out for that. So I feel like that's cool, like with being able to let somebody know. But I feel like the deep dark flaws, like, oh, this happened to me in my childhood, or this why I won't say I love you, things like that, or this is why I won't, you know, meet your family just yet, or certain things like that, you know. So I think that's kind of how that like plays its part into it and things like that. So
Yeah, I definitely think with certain people, they've come to terms with things that have happened to them, and so they're more open to sharing
comfortable, yeah.
their story, and they're a lot more comfortable with it.
Mhm.
But there's also people that still haven't internally really dealt with it
Yeah.
themselves, and so they have a hard time reflecting on it and getting it out in the open because they don't even really know how to personally handle the situation.
Yeah.
And so I think it just depends on who you are and how much you've kind of analyzed your past and come to terms with the negative things
Right.
that have happened to you, and then how you reflect it going forward.
Yeah, and how you deal with it. I think a lot of people deal
Right.
with like those stressors and those different things that happen to them in different fashions. You know, you have some people who like, oh, I don't get over what happened to my parents, or I don't give up what happened to my best friend if he was killed, or things like that. It ain't more indifferent. So you know, for instance, like you know, so I suffer from things that happened to my in my childhood, and I find myself trying to fix those problems like now. You know, I grew up in poverty and things like that. So I found myself trying to right those wrongs by knowing that, hey, I don't want my kids to suffer like how I did, or, you know, the things that I suffered with my mom, with our broken relationship. I try to find those, I try to piece together those pieces through my relationships with women, you know, and things like that. So it's like those wrongs that I grew up with her, like, oh, why was I not good enough? Why was I wasn't showing the proper love? It's like, okay, cool. Now when I do get a proper, like a female that was like, I don't feel like I'm supposed to love the right way, it's like, damn, let me make sure I do the right things, or let me not overanalyze this, or if I get, or if something happens to where we don't work out, it's like, damn, what did I do, or, or is it, or it gets to the point where it's like, damn, like, how do I overcome things like this if this happened to me before? You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of hard to love someone else, love someone else if you don't love yourself. If you're still dealing with things that happened like years ago that traumatized you to the point to where you have a certain fixed mindset. It's kind of dangerous when you have a fixed mindset where you're broken so much to a point where it's like, damn, I think like this all the time. You know, the whole quote unquote niggas ain't shit is like you've been broken so much to the point where you think every dude that you ever came across is like ain't shit, and that's to the point where you feel like you're so broken to where you feel like everybody like this is harmful to you. You know, so um, yeah, I think there's just it's just a lot of things that go along those lines to having people feel like how they are comfortable with what they feel like opening up to, and how comfortable they feel like dealing with what they've been through, if that makes sense. I think people just deal with them in different fashion, and it's I feel like that's okay. Some things are just more toxic than others, you know, because if it makes sense, like I could say this, like for instance, like me, you know, I have real bad anxiety and stuff like that, and but I have patience. You know what I'm saying? I can sometimes I can control it, sometimes I can't, you know, and that's just how it is, you know. And also have depression. I be depressed stuff like that. They come, you know, depression comes out of nowhere. It doesn't knock, doesn't have an alarm clock. But the thing is, it's like, you know, I don't lash out. I don't, you know, anything like that. But I get in music. I lock in on music. You know, I get into it myself, and I'm not my goofy stuff like that. But I deal with that on different ways. I want to watch cartoons and stuff like that, and just to bring me back into like my childhood where we had no worries. So that's how I probably would deal with my depression, my things that I've got going on. Some people may, you know, what I'm saying, go use drugs, which will be a something toxic. You know, especially if they're abusing it. You feel what I'm saying? Or they may find out, oh, I'm going back to a toxic relationship where I was either beaten or verbally abused and things like that. So it's like some people don't always have those positive alternatives. So yeah, I think that's how that usually goes. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I definitely had friends on completely different ends of the spectrum.
Right.
You know, so I had a friend go through a pretty hard time, and in college, you know, she really started partying.
Yeah.
Got like super into alcohol and going out all the time.
Right.
You know, and kind of dealt with her past in a really negative, toxic way.
Right.
And then on the flip side, you know, I had a friend who, you know, went and got on medication for her anxiety and her depression, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, talked to a therapist and really, you know, like found out and like broke down all the pieces
Mm-hmm.
and made herself a better person.
Right.
And looks at things through a different light now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, collectively together we had to help, you know, our other friend
Right.
who was kind of, you know, choosing the more toxic traits. And granted, she's doing good now and a
Right.
lot better than where she was. But I think, like you said, a lot of it is just who responds to it, but like how you see it in the past.
Exactly.
And so, like, I read or saw a video on Facebook not too long ago about these two sons that grew up with an alcoholic father.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys had quoted, "I didn't want to be anything like my dad." And the other one had quoted that that's what they saw their dad doing. And so it's two different perspectives in how they respond to it. And so I think that just has a lot of power behind it.
Yeah.
Is, you know, where you see you're at and where you want to go, or where you see where you're at and you think it will never change.
Yeah, I think a lot of things just goes like with how you were saying like about your friend. I feel like a lot of change starts within yourself. You're not like I can say this. Like from where I'm from, it takes a lot to get out from where I'm from, and enough has to be in you for you to be sick of where you're at to get where you're going. Now, some people do need more resources than others to get out of where they're going at, but sometimes it does take enough of you to be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm sick of this. And then if you have somebody at least trying to give you guidance and leading the way, you have to have enough want to inside of you to get that help. You know what I'm saying? So also think that's great that, you know, saying a lot of people like there are people out there that want help, but sometimes they feel like they don't have the proper resources, or they don't have that proper person to be like, hey, look, I got you, I got your hand, let's go do this, let's go do that, and get you the proper help. You know what I'm saying, like that. Because I know like me, like I have a general anxiety disorder, you know what I'm saying, like that, and I got mild ADHD, but I have general anxiety disorder on a severe scale. So like I was out here and my professor told me to, hey, go, I think you should get diagnosed because your anxiety is real bad. And I never would have gotten the proper medication or proper help if I never would have went, you know what I'm saying, and got diagnosed. And I feel like a lot of people like feel like they may be crazy and everything like that. And I'm not just saying everybody should go get diagnosed, but it's okay to feel like how you may feel like you feel or think different, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's just don't sit in that or sulk in that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's people out there who do feel like or think a particular way, but it's okay. But the thing is, you need to make sure that you are proactive about how you feel, or you should feel like you should try to find positive alternatives and not be in the dark about it or talk to somebody about it, because you can really drive yourself mentally crazy if you don't seek the proper resources to deal with your pain the right way. Because a lot of people can suppress something for so long and you will never know, it'll come out at the wrong time, if that makes sense. So I just think a lot of people need positive alternatives. The thing is, everybody has different positive alternatives that work for them. Like for instance, like I have a friend who goes through it and he may smoke, you know what I'm saying? Then I have somebody who goes through and he meditate. He may go through it and meditate, and that's just different things. But it's just like finding your alternative or your outlet that gets you to the point where it's like, okay, I found my peace. You know what I'm saying? And I think another thing, back to what we talk about with relationships, I think a dangerous thing is somebody being your peace and then like somebody damn near being like your war. And it's like, say if y'all break up, y'all lose, it's like, fuck, it's like I'm almost lost a piece and then a piece of me, if that makes sense. So it's like, damn, now when you lose them, it's like almost like, damn, how do you confide in something? Like, what do you do when you have a bad day, or what happens when you need to find something to get you through what you got going on or something like that, because that was the person that you gave everything or put everything in. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of hard, I guess, why people deal with breakups in different ways. So
I think kind of going to the last point about like how you handle things growing up, that definitely correlates into relationships, you know, because
definitely,
if you're not comfortable asking for help, then when you're going through something hard, you're not willing or able to ask your partner for help. And so you just kind of stomach it, and you don't let them help you handle it. And so eventually when you guys end up fighting over something possibly small, then it turns into this really big fight and possibly ends up in a breakup, because you've hidden so much of yourself and swallowed so many things that were bothering you that when it comes up, it's just an explosion.
Because you're taking it out on them and the problem that you haven't really resolved within yourself. Damn, that makes so much sense, especially when how I think about it too, is because I went through so much things with my parents and my mom and stuff like that. How I said earlier, how I still feel like I'm trying to right my wrongs through people I may deal with on like an intimate level. And I feel like, and when I say intimate, I don't mean on a sexual level, but intimate is like, you know, on a closer level, to where we feel like, I'll say intimate to where I can like talk to you on a level to where we can exchange like points of views and perspectives in a respectful manner. and it doesn't even have to be about love or anything like that. Like right now, we're having an intimate conversation about things that have to do with relationships and things like that. And back to what I was saying with childhood, it's like people don't know that what you go through in your childhood still like sits with you to this day. Like the relationship that you have with your dad or your mom, it still it goes on with you through how you grow up. Like a lot of people feel like, oh, the whole quote unquote daddy issue situation, like that is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Because that is the way why you deal with how you deal with men. That's how you view men. That's the first man that you know to love. And then with your mom, that's the first female that you know to love, and you get that unconditional love for. So it's like if you have a broken one, that's how you grow up from not having that proper way to love. Then it's like almost like, damn, how do I love myself? How do I love somebody else? And another thing that I've always been an advocate for is like, you can't love anybody else unless you love yourself. If you haven't been taught to love the right way through your parents, the people that you supposed to be the first people in your life to teach you how to love, then you will never know how to love anybody else. If you haven't been properly loved the right way, especially growing up, that's the like you haven't like morally haven't really did anything significantly wrong to not get the right amount of love from your mother or your dad. So I feel like with you growing up, that is like the foundation you're supposed to lay to know, okay, damn, this is how I love. Especially if you have your mom and your dad in the household. Okay, look, mom loves dad, dad loves mom. This is how they love each other. Okay, boom, that's my first example of loving. But then if you don't have both of them in a relationship, I mean, like in the household, then it's like, okay, boom, mom loves me in this way, dad loves me in this way. Okay, so this is how I'm supposed to love because dad did this to me all the time, mom does it to me all the time. But if you don't have the proper way of, if you don't have, and there's always not a proper way to love because everybody loves different and shows are different. But then when you get on this basis of like, okay, what if dad never said he loved me? Or what if dad is not always there? What if dad doesn't always support me when I'm going through this or going through that? What if dad beats me when I'm wrong? Or what if he doesn't just open up to like sit down and try to talk to me like why I did X, Y, and Z? Now you have a broken relationship with males because you wasn't taught to learn like love the proper way. So now you have issues with seeing if you should trust this person. And then when you really like somebody, now it's like, fuck, I done fell for him before even thinking that you didn't even think about it. You already fell for him. For now, it's like, fuck, I done invested so much in him so early. I don't even know what to do when he doesn't invest as much as me. So now you have two different energy spaces like we talked about earlier. Now it's like, fuck. Now when he taps out and it's be like, hey, dude, boom, deuces, I'm gone. Now you're stuck with your problems that you invested him to deal with you because he was so much of your support system. Now since he's gone, it's like fuck. Now I got all my load by myself, and it's like fuck. Now what the issue I dealt with growing up with my dad. Now I'm dealing with it more by myself because the person I invested so much time in, he gone. You feel me? And I think that's a lot of things. What happen with people is like they feel like that, and they don't want to trust nobody. I think that's really what it is finding somebody who's genuine enough out there to feel like finding somebody out there that's genuine enough to really want what's best for you for no personal benefit or gain. And I feel like that's kind of hard to find somebody who really wants that for you because I feel like a lot of people are looking for personal benefits and they're not trying to waste their time to try to make somebody else's better because we all got stuff on our plate that we have to attend to in a timely manner. So
I think a lot of the problem is we are kind of raised to understand that we have to love someone else in order to get love, and nobody really preaches to love yourself until you get
later,
into college.
yeah, that is true.
And so I think that a lot of people would have a different mindset if we were taught to be happy when we were younger,
or love your flaws. Like, yeah.
And so I think a lot of it is the way we respond to things right away, almost like immediate gender roles. If you look at
right.
if you look at a baby girl, odds are they're gifting her baby dolls.
Baby dolls, yeah.
And if you have a baby boy, then odds are he's gonna have monster trucks. And
even with compliments you give them, like, oh, you're so smart, or oh, you're so fast, or you're so pretty, stuff like that,
And so I think that goes back to looking at relationships as well. Is a lot of people refer to baby boys as, oh, he's already a lady killer. Well, now you're instilling in the kid that he is insinuating that he needs to find a woman from a young age. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or girls are taught to be ladylike to impress guys. And I think there's situations like that if we were taught, not necessarily that it's not okay to be ladylike, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, that's the way it is, but also because you look at yourself in a different light if you're taught from a young age to be happy with who you are instead of being who you are to impress somebody else.
Right.
And I think that correlates into relationships as you get older, is you're always looking for love and looking for that person that completes you and looking for something. And again, what benefits you instead of, this is me, this is what I have to offer, let's make this work.
Right, and I think another thing is also like when you get in a relationship, it's like, you genuinely love somebody when you do it for them and you don't keep score. But at the same time, it's like you can't also let somebody like mentally and physically like drain you. You know what I'm saying? You ever been with somebody you feel like you just do so much for them? It's like, damn, don't take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? I go to hell and back for you, but don't sit up here and like just think that this, you know what I'm saying? Like, like I don't gotta tank of favors for you, but don't make me have to feel like I gotta like watch that tank of favors. You feel what I'm saying? Like I got a whole like basket of favors for you, and I go in that shit as many times as I want, like for you, cause that's what I got for you. I got unconditional love for you, but don't make me have to count those favors because you're like you're taking advantage of what I'll do for you. If that makes sense, because I feel like a lot of people like they find genuine people, and it's like, damn, I never had this before, but it's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna take advantage because I know that they'll do this for me. I know they'll do this, not, and then it makes you feel like it makes you get into a situation where it's like, damn, now I don't necessarily know how to go about the situation anymore because I feel like they were taking advantage of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's what makes a lot of things toxic because you don't think that somebody would genuinely like do the same thing that they wouldn't genuinely do for you as you would do for them. And I think that's what like a lot of us are also scared of and stuff like that. So I think that's very like interesting. Um, Another thing that I actually want to like talk about is like oh yeah, we were just talking about that, like keeping tabs and not keeping tabs, like exchange and relationships and things like that. I feel like that's a thing that I wouldn't want to do in relationships and things like that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to like the whole thing is like, oh, you pay for this or I pay for that, say like that. But I think a big thing on that is just communicating. Like for instance, like what may work for me and you, Courtney, may not work for like like you and some other dude. What may work for me and a different girl may not work for me and you because we have different like wants and needs and everything like that. So like just in case say you go out to dinner with a dude and you're so used to the mindset of like, hey, dudes always pay for dinner, but he don't know that. So when the bill come, he like, oh, separate ticket, and y'all just vibing talking. Now the whole energy change because it's like you didn't put that out in the space like they know like, oh fuck, you supposed to pay for dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't know like that's a custom or that's how things should go. You feel what I'm saying? So a lot of people aren't raised to know that. A lot of people just don't know that, especially if he got an idea like, fuck, we just friends or we just like on our first little know saying date or 2-3 days. So I'm not really looking to like pay for his shit because I don't even know where this shit headed at. So I'm just like vibing. I'm finna pay for my food and we finna get up out of here. So like I think a big thing is like communicating, like with and not feeling like you have to always that person always know where you coming from, because that's so fucked up. If your birthday come up and you like want a fucking gift and you ain't said shit the whole time, but your ass waiting for a ring or you waiting for some new shoes and his ass get you some concert tickets. You like, oh shit, I'm thinking for the concert ticket, but it's like, fuck, I want them shoes. Like, you should know this. You know me well enough, but it's like, damn, like, how much of a mind reader do you want me to be? You feel what I'm saying? So I think that's a big thing too. Is just communicate, even if it's small as fuck. Like, cause I think a lot of people who get together for so long, they feel like, fuck, we've been together so long. He should know that I want to eat this, and you know that I want to eat that. But it's like, damn, what's so bad with you just letting me know, or just telling me off the bat? You feel what I'm saying? Does it make I feel like people like put so much praise with another person knowing them before they even let them know what they want, and it's like they get in this like habit of just fuck it, I'm gonna just see how much he know me, and if he get it wrong, then it's like, fuck, you don't really care enough to know that much of me, if that makes sense. So I think that's big on like how females are in a sense, if that makes sense. So especially with communicating and stuff like that, or just even if like simple stuff as far as like a dude like you know how you go out to a party and a dude like get mad at you, stay out too late or certain thing like that. Is like, but you didn't let that shit be known in the beginning of a relationship or things like that. They may feel like, oh, well, you didn't let me know that was a right or wrong. It's like, oh, well, you should have been knew that. And it's like assuming and miscommunicating or not communicating at all can lead to some shit to where it can be smaller or some bigger. You feel what I'm saying? So I feel like those things like that, that's why like a lot of people feel like you should be like real from the jump, or but it's not even just being real, it's just being outspoken. Like, if this is how you are, you gotta like let people know that kind of ahead of time so they don't fall into those like different mishaps or those different situations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely think communication is a big part of it. And I feel like a lot of people give expecting something in return.
Yeah.
And so, even with that type of communication, to me, that seems like a really unhealthy relationship. Because I personally think that both people should be able to, you know, support themselves and be individuals but work together instead of like keeping tabs on the other one and making sure
Right.
they're doing exactly what they want when they want, you know. And so if you think about it in like a long distance relationship, if, you know, one of the people is always driving to see the other one but the other person never goes to see them,
Right.
then eventually that person's going to get tired of driving and give up. But, you know, if they make a deal from the beginning, like, hey, I know this is what the relationship is going to be. It's going to be tough. But if I drive to you this week and then 2 weeks later you drive to me, you know, or if I drive to you, can you pay for dinner when we get there?
Yeah, that's so slight. Yeah, you could like, but that you gotta be, your partner gotta be cool enough to know like, look, can we work some shit out like that? You feel what I'm saying? Or like, so you don't put certain like burdens, not even burdens, but certain things on that partner where they can't even like do it. Like say if like y'all want to see each other often, but he know he don't really got money like that to be taking you out like that, but he really like you, and it's like you already expecting like, bitch, you better be paying for this, my gas, and for me to stay here. So it's like, damn, like I fuck with you, but I don't really got it like that. But I can't tell you that from a jump, because what if you don't gonna fuck with me if I don't got it like that? You feel me? So now you find yourself between a rock and a hard place trying to fake it the whole time with the person that's now it's like, damn, I don't even know what to do now, because now she probably expecting me to do X, Y, and Z. But now if you just like be up front, like, look, I'm gonna be real with you, bro. I really don't got it. I take care of X, Y, and Z. Now, like, I can cook for you at the crib, and we can like watch some movies, shit like that, light a little dinner. I mean, light a little candlelight or whatever like that. Watch a couple movies. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you could pick the drinks. You get a little wine or something like that, and I cook. Boom, like that. Tell me what you want to cook, what you want to eat, and I cook that. Now we done saved all that shit about paying for extra food because I got groceries at the crib or something like that. Like, so you gotta like kind of communicate that shit. And if they're not understanding to know your situation to try to like accommodate your needs or accommodate like for both of y'all to be in like meeting the common ground, then it's like fuck, like you ain't gonna never get nowhere, because it's like he really literally can't help that or she literally can't help that. And if you can't see that, it's like what the hell you gonna make them do? Like, you feel me? So,
I think a lot of relationships turn into a unhealthy dependency.
yeah,
And, you know, over time, yeah, we could use the example, like, if you and I are dating, we spend every single day together.
yeah,
And, you know, I begin to expect things from you that I get every single day. And then you begin to expect things from me that you get every single day. And then one day, you know, one of us just gets so
overwhelmed
tired
with
and overwhelmed with doing the same thing.
not even
every
just
day.
that, but just over other stressors, like other
Right.
things in the world. Yeah,
And so then that, like, one of us would be more selfish. It'd be like, well, you're not doing that for me.
yeah, you take
You
it out
know,
on
you're
them.
not right. And so then that gets really unhealthy, and that's where unhealthy relationships
Yeah.
come from. But for me, you know, I've kind of been on both sides of the spectrum.
Right.
And I think from my perspective, a relationship should be two completely different individuals sharing their lives instead of two people coming together to make one life. And so, you know, for me, I go to work, I go to school, I go to share,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like that's what I do. Like that's my life.
Right.
And so I don't necessarily want to, you know, go to work, go to school, go to cheer, and then fight with a boy all day.
No, for sure.
And so for me, it's like I want to do all that, but at the end of the day, I want to tell him about it. I want to
Exactly.
tell him what I did. I don't want him to text me all day long. I don't want to text. I don't want to, I mean, like, of course I want to know what he's doing and if he's okay, but,
Yeah.
you know, I don't need to know exactly where he's at every single second.
Yeah.
That's not the thing that bothers me. And so if, you know, he's going about his day and I'm going about my day, but at the end of the day, we can sit down and be like, hey, like, how was your day? We now have a genuine, intimate conversation at night to
Mhm.
be able
To
to
gather all
discuss
that shit, yo.
our lives and, you know, talk about what we did and feel closer because
Yeah.
we're sharing our individual lives together.
I always, to be honest, I always like that shit. Like throughout the day, little spurts of like, you feel me, talking. But that big talk at the end of the night, that be the golden shit. You feel me, like, you know what I'm saying, like. Okay, it be like damn near up under somebody too much. Like say, you know what I'm saying, wake up, you feel me, we talk a little bit here and there, boom, I go about my day, I probably send you a little snap, I probably FaceTime you on like in the middle of my day, then boom, we done, probably text here and there, then at the end of the night, fuck it, we get the big talk, probably like 30, 45 minutes before we go to sleep, and that's the big talk at the end of the day to wrap, oh, how was your day, what you done did today, know what I'm saying, how that's going, that's how you wrap all that shit up. I feel like that's the best thing to do far as like making shit like that's how I like it. You feel me? I wouldn't want to be up under somebody too much. But in the beginning, I feel like when you learn about somebody, I feel like that's kind of how you want to go about it. But I mean, it just depends on the stages. I feel like you're in your relationship and then your partner and what they're cool and okay with. But I think another thing that I kind of want to like touch bases on was lastly was just upliftment. Because we gotta touch bases on everything without even like going into and me looking down at my notes or anything like that. But I feel like upliftment is like I always want to just like I mean I was just kind of what I said earlier is like you can't love someone else unless you haven't if you haven't taught to be love. It's like haven't been taught to love early on and or love yourself. And I just always feel like I don't want people to ever feel like male or female. I don't want everybody to feel like they're not good enough or they don't have enough in them to be good enough for someone else because I feel like we do. Like I know it sounds cliche to feel like oh there's somebody out there for all of us, which is true and that is true. But I don't want people to always feel like they have to lower their standards or anything like that to be able to succumb to somebody else's standards. And sometimes it's not that you're you're not good enough. It's probably like they're not good enough, or you're not in a place to where you're not with those like-minded people. You feel what I'm saying? Just because you have friends that's engaging in particular activities with significant others, it doesn't mean that your time is not coming or something like that. Maybe you're in a different space or a different energy space to where you got to learn certain things about yourself and go through these different hoops and these different avenues before you can get to that part to where you can understand that fuck I'm ready for this type of relationship. Because a lot of people feel like we're ready for a type of relationship, but we're not ready to have that kind of hold that kind of magnitude with yourself and that person. Because when you are in a relationship, a lot of shit becomes both of y'all's. Cause like I want my problem to become yours. I want you to be able to pick me up when I'm down. I need you to be one of my crutches. Like you feel what I'm saying, and vice versa. Because the type of love I have for you, I would want somebody to have it for me, if that makes sense. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, a lot of people in the boat might not be prepared for that type of love. You feel what I'm saying? Like you may come across a person that is perfect, all this shit like that, being there for you, everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Help you with your situation. But if y'all are not prepared to take that a certain level in that relationship, like to the next level, it will never go anywhere. Especially if they're not comfortable with anything like that, because they might still be dealing with what they got going on in the past. And when you deal with somebody, I feel like you got to deal with every facet of them. You can't deal with goofy AD and not deal with depressed AD. You feel what I'm saying? You got to deal with all that shit. You feel what I'm saying? Just like anybody else would want that same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And another thing is just like, I just want people to always feel like don't understand about like your significance, like understanding how significant you are in this world. A lot of people like I feel like are depressed or they get like they get I feel like googly eyed from social media and how things should be in relationship goals and different things of that nature. But I feel like a lot of things shouldn't be based off that, because if we're honest, if we're being real, social media is like it's funny because it's like it's not real. It's a facade. It's almost like I'm gonna post all the good parts that happen in our relationship. I'm gonna post all the good things that happen in my life on here for people to see, because that's all I want them to view. But you don't even understand that me and you just got into it over X, Y, and Z, or we damn near not even finna be together, or all stuff happening behind closed doors. But a lot of people see what happens on social media, and it's almost to the sense it's like, damn, this is how things are supposed to be. So I need to find something that matches along the lines of that, because I need that kind of happy. I need that kind of smile when I look at this person, thing like that. So I just want people to understand that there's certain things about you in your life that you understand, that you have to know your worth before you get to know anybody else. You have to love yourself before you get to love anybody else. You know what I'm saying, like that. And once you know your worth and you love yourself enough, you get to be able to know, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not gonna change my ways, but I will then accommodate my toxic habits to be able to succumb like to them, not succumb to them, but to be able to meet them in the middle for us to be able to mesh well. If that makes sense. Because if you do have toxic traits, you do have to open up and listen. You do have to understand that, and you do have to work on that, because ain't nobody going to be with somebody who don't want to listen. Ain't nobody want to do is be with somebody who can't, who wants to talk over somebody when they talk, because they get to a point in time where it's like you get old enough to be like, man, I can't deal with that. I don't have enough brain capacity or enough space to be able to allow that kind of energy in my life on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? So I just think a lot of people just need these kind of talks to understand like you're enough. You know what I'm saying? That you're loved enough. And if you don't know that now, I mean, there's somebody out there that do love you enough to know that they know your worth. You just don't have to keep on giving it to the certain people that does not show you how much you're worth. So, I mean, that's all I had to say about all of that. I mean, is there anything that you want to say?
No, I think there was an interesting point that you pointed out with the social media.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a certain buzz on it that, you know, they have to post about each other all the time, you know, and write these long paragraphs about how much they appreciate each other.
Because so many people do it.
And then, people get upset when other people, know so much information about their relationship, and they feel like that gets in the way. Or, they become very judgmental.
Right.
But a lot of it is exposed out on social media.
Yeah.
And so that creates problems within relationships as well. But I also feel like there's a jealousy aspect if, I were to see something on social media and be like, oh, I wish,
oh, he would do that for me.
He would do that for me,
right.
And I think it's almost like, if you see like a specific bodybuilder or, like a model, and you want to be like, oh, I want to look like them. So you start doing things to possibly like change yourself.
Yeah.
And so I think, with relationships, the person is with you because they like who you are. But if you start changing yourself to try to be the people on social media, that's when a lot of problems begin to happen as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of things you should do is like also like ask your partner to be real with you about certain things. Like, hey, am I gaining weight? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? Like be real with me, so I know like I need to work on it before it's too late. You feel what I'm saying? Because I don't want to get to the point where it's too late and you become unattracted to me, or it's to the point where it's like, damn, you got big as fuck, and I ain't even say nothing. But it's like, no, like let them be, like let that be known. Because I understand, like if we got to the point where you're in a relationship and I'm with you and stuff like that, trust me, I like you enough for you to be mine forever. You feel what I'm saying? Because I done made a commitment to you already. I didn't make a commitment to you like, fuck it, I'm finna date her for like 6 months and I'm gonna slide. No, I made a commitment for me to be like, fuck it, I'm in this shit to however, like, till we get green to things like that. Because that's how you thinking for a relationship. I mean, you may not thinking that far along the line, but you like, fuck it, I'm finna have you for right now until we're gonna see where this goes, stuff like that. But at the same time, I feel like if you understand that I like enough for you to be mine and nobody else's. So the thing is, you have to understand, you have to communicate with them with the things that you do not like, so then you can avoid those conflicts when they do pop up. So it's not like when you pop up, it's like, damn, oh shit, I don't even know how to handle this because we ain't talked about this before. You feel what I'm saying? So I feel like the big thing is like a lot of people do find themselves being like seeing on social media and want to be like those different people and have all these different things, but it's just like it's not real, because a lot of people like that you're dealing with right now, like your significant other may not even want you to be like that person. You know what I'm saying? It's maybe good to look at, but it's good to have. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, like, I may have this person right here, and they're good to have. You know what I'm saying? Like that. But, I mean, everything on social media looks good. You feel what I'm saying? That's a commercial. You know what I'm saying? It's not authentic. You feel what I'm saying? It's supposed to look good. It's just a commercial. But what I have in front of me, you know what I'm saying? I can feel, I can touch, I can have it, I can keep it. You know what I'm saying? And then, God forbid, if I ever do anything to lose it, then I can lose it. I can do away with it and stuff like that. But I just think that's just the difference between social media and real life. I think a lot of people don't know how to bridge that gap. And some people try to bring social media to the real life, but it's like, no, that what you are in the media is not what you are in real life, and vice versa sometimes. So I just think that some people need to like learn how to like distance those two realities, because a lot of people are living through social media, and I just think a lot of people just need to get more in tune with their self. And then when they get once in tune with their self, you know how to communicate well with your significant others, to where they're so in tune. It's like, damn, it's almost like y'all building each other, like. And so I think that's just like real big on like what I would think. So, yeah. I mean, that's all I got for tonight. I mean, I think that's pretty good. Thank you guys for listening. I think that's going to be our ending for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed us talking about relationships and levels of intimacy, law of attraction, and different levels of energy and different things of that nature. I'll be probably looking to post another episode here in soon, probably a week or so. And yeah, thanks for listening.